Yeah, so we'll start from here, all right?
I just wanna talk with my brothers, is that too much to ask? Might as well look sharp as I'm doing it too. Trish and talk, Trish and talk, Trish and talk. I wanna know.
We've been doing Trims and Talks now for about a year. And one of the great pleasures of doing Trims and Talk, it just gives us an opportunity to talk with black guys and women from Sheffield and just a little bit about themselves, about their lives, and for them to just take a little bit of time for us just to explore with our guests their lives. And coming out of that, it's been an absolute pleasure, and it's been so heartwarming and really quite touching when people have sort of sat back for a bit and just talked about their lives as such. And I know you've got loads and loads and loads of things we'd love to talk about. Okay. So, but Lungani, I'll let you do your intro.
No. That is the intro.
That is the intro,
you know
is it?
Like I've known Errol, like I said, over 30 years. To be honest, I knew Errol's mom before I knew Errol. And I went to college with his sister.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I went
Which
to his
one?
sister.
I've got
the youngest
4.
one.
Oh, Kathy.
Yeah,
Kathleen.
I went to Kathleen.
Yeah.
I went to school with the Black Access course at Sheffield College. Yeah, in 93, 92.
I used to teach on that
there,
course.
Yes,
Yes, but I didn't teach you.
No. we were on the main.
Yes, but Castle College.
Yeah, at Castle.
Yes, I taught on that one.
Danny, the late
Danny Mashingale and Julie. So I taught on it.
Yeah,
so I used to come in.
Julie.
Julie. Yes.
People like Yvonne Witter, and all we're in the same class. The Thomas brothers, Leroy and Brian, and a variety of other guys in a way. So I knew your mom. Your mom and where I lived, the lady where I lived, Magnoni, they took me to a church. I went with them to a church in Birmingham.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I went to a church in Birmingham. I went visiting the church in Birmingham. And your mom used to call me and Luke. They call me Luke, and I was like, I'm cool with this, because sometimes it takes too long to correct it.
She calls me Errol. You've done all.
But that's the thing. It's like sometimes, what's in a name, anyways? You know what I'm saying?
But for you, Errol, when I often say to people, I've seen Errol doing this and that with Errol, they'll often say to me, yeah, Errol, and him mum, Mrs. Legister.
Yeah, or Miss Nora.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they always talk about her with really sort of like, with such sort of warmth.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. She's a great lady.
Because you were saying to me yesterday that you cooked dinner for her.
Yeah, she's now she's 94. She's at an age where she doesn't really cook much, so she's got support from my sisters. I mean, they do more than me. They go above and beyond. They're brilliant. And then you've got sort of Jerry and I, my older brother. We do help, and I do a bit of cooking as well, because I'm rather partial to cooking. Yeah. I think I'm really good.
Yes.
Although she did give me some feedback yesterday. she went on to, I did some yam and banana and some chicken and some mixed veg and everything. I was very proud of my efforts.
You were telling me.
I thought I did a sterling job. Anyway, so I brought the food round to Mum, and she always gives me feedback afterwards, and she goes, Errol, the food tastes nice, man. So that's what she said to me. But you should have put little garlic in the chicken. Nicky soft, little dry. And I went, okay, Mum, yeah, all right, yeah, but you enjoyed it. Yes, man, it's all right, good. But not forget the garlic next time. So that was, but I think I'm quite a dab hand at the cooking. My sisters are much better than me, but,
but that's just because, you, like many of us, born and raised in the UK, Sheffield?
Yes.
Right. And one of many? How many in your family then?
There's 6 of us.
There's
some half brothers and sisters in Jamaica.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but there's 6 of us. I've got an older brother and then 4 sisters.
Yeah.
And I've got 2 sisters who live in the United States,
Yeah.
who've been there for, years, over 40 years. So they're very Americanized.
Yeah, yeah. Because you're, in terms of being raised in Sheffield, you're a Hunter's Bar person. Again, whenever I bump into people around Sheffield,
so the
from
affluent side of
black
Sheffield.
community,
Yeah.
and you say someone like yourself, and there's a couple other guys,
Yeah.
Mike as well, Hunter's Bar, you're all from that slightly posher end, aren't you?
I know. Like in the,
Is that why you carry on like you do?
That's why I talk like that. Yeah, we were working class. Let's just get it in there. We were a working class family. As a matter of fact, Dad really couldn't afford to live there. Mum and Dad couldn't afford to live there. He didn't really have enough deposit. And women back in those times, I call women and a half, I mean, they're really hard working. I'd even put like Dave Basso's mum in there, you know, and probably your mother and your mother, you know, really hard working women. And Dad didn't really have enough money. And they used to get your wage packet every week.
Yeah, I remember the wage packet, yes.
This little
The
brown
brown envelope.
Yeah, with the writing on it.
Yes.
Gosh. Anyway, so we initially, actually, as I live at Hunter's Bar, initially we lived at Broughton Lane, Attercliffe, until I was about 4
right.
years old. And they were, sorry?
where's Broughton Lane?
Broughton Lane, well, it's not really kind of there
It's
anymore.
no-
It's a train line runs
yeah.
through there.
Oh, okay.
And they said to my dad, listen, we're knocking these houses down. So you
The
have to
days of
find somewhere else
the
to live.
compulsory purchase, wasn't it?
Yeah. So they
yeah.
give him like about 100 quid.
Yeah.
And he went to my mum, and if you just permit me to say how I imagine he said it to my mum, he said, "We don't know what we are going to do, you know. We don't have enough money." And mum said, "What me have money or not?" And dad said, "Where you got money from?" So then mum said, "The money where you give me each week." So she'd squirreled away.
Yeah, they were very good at that.
She squirreled away little bits of money and had enough deposit. So we had enough deposit, the 100 quid, then the deposit for the house in
Because,
Hunter's
again, our parents' generation, I mean, my dad used to always say this. He said, you know, a black man teach white man fit buy horse, you know.
Yes, I've heard you say that before. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Which is basically those days when they could just go to rent a room, etc., and then
Yes.
they couldn't get anywhere else. Then they started to sort of like save money, use partner, etc. There, and put on a deposit. Then, so my mum used to always moan at my dad when we bought this house. It wasn't a big house, but she used to always say, "You make me buy this big old horse for."
The weird thing is, like, I did, we did a project around with the Windrush, and I remember talking to brother Neville Bosu, David Bosu's dad, and he was talking about the fact that he was like, when he bought the house, some of the people he worked with, you know, his colleagues, white colleagues, were like, "How you manage to buy a house, you know?"
Oh, wow. Really?
Because we were resourceful. I think we've always been resourceful.
Yeah. And I think that point you're saying about our mothers. I mean, my mum she worked as a machinist, and then she did work as well in terms of sewing. She was a seamstress, so she used to sew as well. So they put some work in, didn't they?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Mom could tell me some, you know, she would tell us some right stories about, you know, jobs that she'd left, and then she'd go into another job. Because you could do that in those days. You could leave one job and then go to another.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't really have to be filling lots of applications.
And that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, my mum worked as a caterer, actually. Cole Brothers.
Cole Brothers.
See, you're going to think I'm posh all the time.
Yes, we are now, yes.
No.
Well, I bumped into you at Waitrose yesterday, so I do.
I was borrowing their carpet. Okay? I was just using it for a short while. Yeah, she was a caterer for a long time.
Yeah.
And Dad was, he was a lay preacher, but his trade, he was a welder, you know.
Oh.
He was a welder, yeah. I think initially, it says on my birth certificate, I think he was like in the building trade initially, you know, because that's when they came. Dad came 1958. That was it. It had been all bombed, hadn't it? After the war and everything like that. And so I think it says builder's labourer on there, like many of them.
Yeah.
But his trade, he was a welder.
So, you know, because I know one of the things I know about you quite well is quite a musical sort of like background.
Yeah.
I mean, where's that come from?
I think it comes from my mum. I think it's from my mum, yeah, because she's a really good singer. She loves to sing, and she plays a bit of guitar as well.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, she'll sit down. She'll not tan good, you know. And then she'll adjust herself and she'll strike a chord and hold that song. And then but she's a really good singer. She's great. I really wanted to record her, you know. But yeah, I think that's where that came from, really, from Mum's side. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because it's like when I was speaking to Errol on Friday, I'm like, dude, when is the album? I didn't know that he has a lot of tracks on Spotify, you know? And because I've always known him as the only left-handed guitar player I know is Errol. And he always was, I always, in my head, he was reminiscent of, the South African guitar?
Jonathan Butler.
Jonathan Butler, yeah. Every time, because Jonathan is a lefty also. Yeah. And he always had that kind of swagger thing, like.
I know what you mean.
So yesterday, when we spoke on Friday, he's like, you know, and then he was telling me about, you know, like some of the, you know, the artists he sang with and stuff and whatever. Yeah. The funniest thing was like, you know, I was like a pause up again.
Oh, well, there's some context behind that. I mean, let me just. Now it was back in the 80s.
Back in the 80s.
I was in a bar. Grape Treaders and Hop Pickers, something like that. I think I've got the title right of the pub, and I was there in this pub. And in those days, I mean, I really thought I was the greatest thing ever. Yeah. You know, like you do.
Yeah, well, you're young.
I was only, 22 or something like that. And I always remember what I was wearing. I was wearing like a khaki shirt and I had like these khaki trousers to match, you know, and these basket woven sort of shoes.
Boy, you're smart.
You look Christmas in my...
Chris.
Anyway, these guys came up to me, don't know them. I was just stood sort of talking to some people, and he actually said to me, "You'd make a great front man. Can you sing?" And I went, "Well, not really. I sing when I'm in the bath." Well, we'll get some practice between now and when we come to see you. Where do you work? And I told him, at the time I was working at Next, and you know, in the sort of the rag trade. And I didn't really take it that seriously. I thought I'd just saying things, or they're complimenting me on the way that I look. I sort of didn't take it that serious. Sure enough, they turned up after about, I think it was about a month or so. They said, "All right, your time's up. Okay, you know, when can you come to the recording studio?" I said, I can come next week. And it kind of just started from there, really.
And who you played with then, back in the day?
The very, very, very first band. And these guys went on to have some success in the charts without me. And they were called Living in a Box. And they came out with a track called Living in a Box, by Living in a Box.
So they're the band we've just been laughing about, where they went on Top of the Pops, you didn't go on it.
I wasn't on it. I wasn't invited. In fact, I wasn't.
Then we'll just get someone taller and whatever.
Someone taller, better looking, white. No, I wasn't invited. I wasn't good enough. I mean, they were very polite and sort of dismissing me, if you like. Yeah. But really, that was my introduction into the music business. And it wasn't until I met a guy called Martin Braga. He was a brilliant musician, older guy, blues, folk, gospel, everything. And he wasn't. You'd think I'm describing a black man. He was a white guy, brilliant. Taught me how to harmonise and everything. And really, that's where sort of my career kind of took off as a musician. With Martin Braga and my cousin Brian.
Which Brian?
Brian Johnson.
Oh, okay.
So me and Brian sang BVs together a lot.
So how long would you say your musical career went?
You still write.
I still write, yeah.
Still sing?
Yeah.
You were talking earlier about you'd like to do a bit more.
Yeah, well, I sort of put the guitar down for a while, and then I got a bit disillusioned with it, to be quite honest. It's funny, really, because... Yes, I said I want to get back into it and start playing again. And David, who you know, Dave Basu, he approached me last week and said to me, "Listen, you know, you've got a lot of talent there. What are you doing? You know, kind of told me off. A bit like
Well, we
I'm-
do need telling off from time to time,
Yeah,
don't we?
absolutely. Yeah. And I thought, you know, and I went away and I really thought about what he was saying. And
Yeah.
absolutely, I think I need to get back into it again.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I'm going to just take it back a bit on that because one of the things, again, which you and I have been talking about, I know Lungani and I have been talking about it a lot, is that sort of like role nearly of brotherhood. And sometimes brotherhood is not always hearing what you want to hear, but sometimes hearing the things where someone is saying to you, you had something, you let it go, or you had something, you ought to pick it up again. And you're surprised sometimes that when you first hear it, you think, oh, they're telling me off, or is it something else? But usually it's coming from love.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And that's one of the things which I know from recent, the things we've been involved in, that actually that seems to be very much out there at the moment.
Yeah, I agree fundamentally. It's encouraging, you know, when people actually mention it, you think, yeah, why have I put this down? Why have I stopped this? I've allowed other things to kind of come in the way and distract me, and, you know, you kind of get distracted. And so that's been my issue, really. So I think after I've finished here, I'm going to go home and tune the guitar and start playing again. Yeah, I've got some ideas that really, and if you don't get those ideas down on paper, then you just forget them.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely there.
No, that's it. I think especially, you know, like considering like the group like we're a part of Storm on a Friday, and you know that whole thing of, you know, we talk about checking in and we talk about, you know, just being in, doing mental health well. I think, you know, like we usually talk about what's your thing, which is like the thing that you do to actually keep your wellness, you know, like on a level. And music has been like a thing for many of us. It's been our, either the writing, I mean, some guys will talk about journaling and stuff, or some people just, there's a guy, I saw a clip recently, the guy says, I don't journal, but I sing.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So instead of just writing down, instead of, you know, kind of writing on a journal, he sings, and that is his way of either remembering some of the things that he's going through at that time. And so
It's
what
great
is
therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you? Because I always knew you as a guitar player, and where did the guitar part come from?
Right, okay. That's very interesting. It started with my mom, of all people. Now, my dad, back in the 70s, Mom and Dad set up something called Shiloh.
Oh, yes.
Shiloh Pentecostal Church. So the Shiloh Pentecostal churches that you're seeing now was actually set up initially from like my dad, and there was another guy called Pastor Mac, and my mom. They were the early founders of that Shiloh Pentecostal Church in Sheffield. Anyway, so I remember the day, Mom, she always used to buy me toy guitars. She was interested in the guitar, but wanted me to be interested in it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was that interested, but anyway, so I used to play with these toy guitars, and then one day she brought like.
So you got toys when you were a child?
Yes. Well, you can go back to this Hunter's Bar thing. But listen,
I had toys. I never had a toy. Never had a toy in my life.
Sorry. I couldn't stop myself.
yeah, you've lost my train of thought.
We
now.
made.
you were talking about your mum
Yeah,
buying
your mum
toys.
brought.
Yes.
Yes.
So mom, but Errol, me buy you one guitar. I have to do her voice because
It's a beautiful voice, though, isn't
yes,
it?
it's
When you hear it,
wonderful.
yeah.
It's absolutely wonderful. Errol, me buy you one guitar. See one guitar. You can't come play at church, will we? Right? And unbeknownst to me, they'd had this meeting in their church that I would be playing the guitar, and there was another guy called Dino. He's called Dean. His name's Dean Dennis. And they had this
part of the dentist is.
Yes.
Because they were like on the same part of the city, you know, like over Greystones.
Wait,
that
no,
way.
they weren't Greystones then.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
No, they weren't Greystones. They were Washington Road.
Oh, yeah, Washington Road.
Washington Road. So they had this meeting, and so Dino and I were like, just became these guitarists. And we couldn't play. We didn't know how to play. We didn't have any lessons or anything. And so we sort of came along to the church, and we're just like be making a whole load of noise.
Yeah.
Because I'd play, and then I'd get books, and I'd be trying to look at the chords and how the shape of the chord, and then, you need to go learn guitar lesson. So I used to go to this place called Musical Sounds on London Road every Saturday morning.
Really?
Yes. Do you remember Musical Sounds?
Musical sounds.
And I used to go there every Saturday morning, and they would teach me. And there was a guy on our road that we lived on in the posh area, in Bowood Road, and he played electric guitar, brilliant electric guitar player, and he would teach me as well. But I never really took to reading music very well. I wasn't very good at it, but I could play by ear, and that's really where it started. Just playing a bit of guitar, and I was really more interested in vocals than anything else.
But so the church then played a big part
massive,
in your sort of like...
huge. I mean, that's where it all started.
Yeah.
It all started in the church, really, with my mum and dad.
Yeah. And church is still important to you now?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
'Cause I know in the past, church is... Well, it's been massive for you, hasn't it, in terms of some key events for you.
Absolutely.
I mean, and one of the first things I remember you when in conversation with you years back about, you said to me you could speak Spanish. I was thinking, how you learn Spanish, man? You didn't learn it at school or whatever there. And then you said, no. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, how did I start? It started, my wife might be listening to this now. It started way back in the 80s when I did like a GCSE course in Spanish, but we'd met some Spanish girls, me and my friend, and they kind of inspired us. That's how it started. I started with a GCSE.
As he always does.
Yeah.
No, usually guys, we are interested in things that girls are interested in. So at least we are able to be conversant.
I thought I was press ganged by this other guy. It wasn't really so much me. He said he wanted to do it, and my experience of school wasn't very good. So
wasn't it?
The fear of sort of going in there and the smell of the school and everything.
Well, that's always a big one, isn't it? When you go back into education as an adult, that actually you take with you the experiences you've had when you were at school. And if school wasn't that good, wasn't that successful, that's what you take with you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Why was it your experience?
Because I didn't realize at the time until I went through that process.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't think they liked me very much at school. Well, they had good reason not to like me. As a bit of a hellraiser. As a matter of fact, this kid reminded me the other day that he said, "Oh, my mum told me to keep away from you because you were a naughty boy," and I was a hellraiser. I was really naughty, and I'd throw things down the corridor. I'd constantly be outside the headmaster's office. So I mean, the people look at me and think, "Well, it's all this education." I was bad. But
doesn't that tell you something about the education we had there, which is you're a man you like order, you like discipline, and all of those things there. And yet when we were at school, so many of us were cast as these baddies. When actually, when you think back to it, we were not.
No.
But we were cast as that, and it was quite painful. Well, I will say quite. It was an incredibly painful experience to be living through that, when actually that wasn't who we really were. But I don't know if they were bothered to know who we were. They had their own ideas of what we were, and that was it.
Yes. Well, there was only going to be a certain percentage of kids who would go on and do jobs that would be well paid.
Yes.
And I think Sheffield, as a place, it was kind of very industrial. They wanted workers, didn't they? They wanted steel workers.
Yeah.
They wanted miners. They didn't really want... they wanted educated people, but they only probably wanted about 5%. So I was clearly fitted into that category of the kids who would just be workers. And that's fine, I knew I was bright enough, but I just enjoyed messing around. It wasn't until later on, some 20 years later, that the very school who kind of excluded me, if you like, I went back and I was a school governor. Not one school governor spoke to me, by the way.
Not one?
Oh, no. I walked in there and they completely blanked me. It was an experience, but I could handle it. In fact, I thought it was quite amusing actually, because I sat there and I thought, God, you hate the fact that I'm here, so I'm just going to sit here and put on my face. Loved it. Yeah.
So, but back, so the Spanish, because that took you to Ecuador, didn't it?
It did. I had a girlfriend at the time who I was with, and because I was a musician, I didn't really have much by way of skills and qualifications, and she said, there was a call book. I was part of this church denomination, and there was a call book, and you could go anywhere you wanted in the world and help people. And she said, why don't you go and do some missionary work somewhere? And I had a look through this call book, and I saw Ecuador. Looked great. Yeah. Ecuador, and you would go and you would teach the choir and the children. I thought, that's me. Yeah. I'm doing it. So I went to Ecuador. That was way back in the 90s. And I went teaching the choir and teaching the children in the school, which was brilliant. And they were really impressed with me. Well, that's what they told me. They said, "Would you teach English?" Well, I don't know how to do this. I don't know if I can do that, because I didn't have the skills. I'd done like some GCSEs, but really I didn't think I had the confidence to do something like that. But I persevered, and I ended up teaching English. And during that time, trying to communicate with people was quite hard. When I got there, when I say nobody spoke English, nobody spoke English. No one. For about 3 months, I couldn't say a word.
Jeez.
I could get by. I could say, where is such and such a thing, or can I have? I could say things like that, and in toilets and things, but I didn't speak Spanish at all. And about 3 months, and then one day it all came tumbling out of my mouth.
But how do you go from, say it this way, because all three of us, or at least two of us here, very similar upbringing there in terms of relatively small communities. Yeah. And you go from there to this other side of the world. Yeah. And when we talk about going out of your comfort zone, that is, you are really stepping out of your comfort zone there in every respect there, in terms of you're not connecting. Those days, it's not like you can ring up every other day and text people that you're on your own, aren't you? Gosh, You're sending your sort of like the old little, remember we used to write, what was the paper you used to write your letters on? The little blue... Airmail.
Paper, that little thin paper,
How did you... just that idea of going from where you were in the UK over to Ecuador to do something which is sort of like... It's a massive leap of faith in yourself to be able to manage that and to do it.
Yeah, it's because the changes kind of came about for me because I joined the church, and this particular church that I was in, I think Lou would agree with me here, they were all sort of high flyers, there were the people like, you got like people like your David Bassouz and the like, and they were all professionals. And I come in there with like a musician self, not really... much by way of quals and things, and you felt that pressure.
There was pressure, man.
There was a lot of pressure.
There was a lot of, because it's like the usual question you get asked. Oh, so where are you studying? That's especially for us, we're coming from other parts of the world. The assumption was you were here to go to university. So, and it is pressure.
It was a lot of pressure, and so I felt that pressure, and I felt like I really needed to do something. And because I'd joined the church, I felt really rejuvenated. All these kind of constraints before, where I felt a bit scared to venture into a college or a university or go and live abroad, that all went away. And I got this...
So the church did that for you?
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's funny you say that, because, many of us, especially in Carterknowle, Carterknowle Seventh-day Adventist was our training ground for us. Yes. When I speak of that particular kind of church, not the whole denomination, but that particular church. Like you were saying, you had the Yvonne Charners, the Henry Charners, you had the Sandra Henrys,
Yes.
who taught us in our
So
youth
what was
class.
it about that church community? I'm going to use the word community.
Yes.
What was it about that church community which gave you the strength to actually feel as if you could go and test yourself in
The
a way which
support.
you'd never even
Yes.
probably thought about before?
Sure, it's the support, but it's also looking at those black faces that have achieved at the highest level.
Yes.
So, I mean, you've got lecturers in there.
Yeah,
You've got people who are involved in social services.
Yeah.
Nurses. Lots of professionals. And you really, really feel it when you go in there.
Yeah.
People were heading up things like EMAS, Ethnic Minorities Achievement Service at
Yes,
the time.
yes.
Randolph Prime.
Randolph Prime,
Yeah,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
Danny Mashingale, whose name we
Yeah.
mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So people were teaching on the access course. So they were highly educated people. You thought, you felt kind of good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're a bit intimidated. You thought, wait a minute, I need to do something here. I mean, if they
You
can
felt
do it,
you had to up your
I
game.
can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you felt you had to up your game.
So were you
Because
there at the same time?
No, yeah, I was around the same time, but
Yeah.
these guys were slightly older than me, and we looked up to these guys, because, the sharp looking and just looked like they knew what they were doing. So we had nothing but to just look up and aspire to be in the same level.
Yeah. And we often say that you can't be what you can't see.
No, you
And
can't. That's it.
what seems evident there is that you could see people who were doing things, and
Yeah.
and it does make you feel a bit, well, what am I doing?
Yeah, no,
And if I'm
that's
going to
it.
do anything, I better start now.
No, but that's the thing. I think, with a lot of, especially with our community, and I see this like in the groups that we are part of, unless you have a reference point in terms of somebody who's doing something that you think, you'll never do it,
Yeah.
because
That's right.
because it's not usual that you get some. I don't know if it happens to you guys. Like, have you ever had somebody come to you and say, "Dude, you're doing okay"?
Yeah, not very often, but yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But not very often, infrequently. But people have noticed that you've achieved whatever you've achieved, and they want a little bit, or they
Yeah.
want to know, how do I get to that next stage?
Yeah.
What do I need to do? And that's something that I really feel makes a difference.
So, Ecuador,
Uh-huh.
were you there for a year?
I was there for 12 months, yeah.
12 months there. I mean, when you sort of come back from Ecuador,
Uh-huh.
what did you feel you had done for yourself then? I mean, was there a different Errol to the Errol which had gone out?
Yeah, huge, massive. It was a different Errol. I was a completely different person. And even until today, I'm not the same. It was something that was to change my life, the direction of my life, and to change my life completely and totally. Because in this sort of bubble, when you're here in the UK and then you go and live in a developing country and you realise that people don't have certain things, and you see little kids sleeping in the streets, or at 1 o'clock in the morning you see some child there cleaning shoes or something. So all those things that you take for granted, electricity going out, se fue la luz type thing, electricity's gone out. You think, well, I was going spare because I need my toilet paper, I need my niceties.
But I know where you're from already.
Yeah. I just couldn't
Which part
take
of town you're from?
Oh, you keep coming back with that. Go ahead.
You didn't have an outside toilet, did you?
We did actually. Yeah. I remember those days.
You remember them days?
Yeah, the pee peel and all that kind of thing. Yeah. Go put on the lamp in your
The
room.
chimney pot.
The chimney pot. I light it like this.
Have you emptied the chimney pot at night to do time?
Oh no! Oh, those were the days.
They were the
Oh,
days.
freezing. Oh,
It was
cold.
so, honestly, Lungani, you cannot believe how cold it was.
Oh,
Winters back those days when you didn't have central heating. And winters were proper winters.
The blanket used to be, it was so heavy. It was like sleeping, it was like lead. Yes. Right. And you'd have this wicker sheet and you'd have the blanket flush in your hair afterwards. Yeah. It's a fluffy now. And your mum would keep picking it out of your head. Right?
They would, yes.
Oh, my. It was a candlewick sheet. Wasn't
Yes, it
Yeah.
was.
And also, so there was a lot of black people who had, and it was predominantly them, paraffin heaters.
Yes.
Yeah.
In those times, and you know, you to go and get some kids would go and buy the paraffin. You know?
Yeah.
Go and buy the. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
Go and buy the paraffin. Right. And then your mum would say, after they taught you how to do it, go put on the lamp in your room, right? So then you go and light it like this. Is that right, Don?
It was, I remember it. But the thing was, it would stand up in the middle of the room.
It used to stink. And all you used to do, you always knew it was a black person's house because you just open the letterbox and you smell it. You could smell the paraffin. Well, lots of people burned down in the houses, you know.
Dude, we grew up on that. I was thinking because I'm working on this, you know, kind of book idea I've been working on, and I just wanted to flesh out, you know, like the first chapter, and it's like just trying to kind of visualize my earliest memory, you know, because I learned to cook at about 5, 6.
Wow.
You know, because like where I was, the grown-ups were never there.
Really?
They were never there, you know what I mean? So you had to learn to do stuff. So it's like sometimes I've got like scars of burn marks and all that kind of stuff. Like, but it's like, and I was thinking about that with this idea of safeguarding now. And I'm thinking,
Well, I tell you, that's kerosene.
yeah.
That wasn't safeguarded.
No, it wasn't.
Health and safety, what?
Yeah, there was no health and safety didn't exist.
But you're
It
right
really
about
did
the
not.
smell. The smell was a distinctive
And it
smell.
smelled on your clothes.
Yeah,
as well,
it
didn't
did, yes.
You knew when you went to school, you could smell it. God, I smell a lamp. You know? You could smell them.
But don't you think, you know, like, I know, I mean, like years ago they spoke about the dangers of asbestos and stuff and whatever. But many of us, because we were in that, I remember when they started talking about paint, the fumes of paint and how it will make you sick and stuff. I guess a lot of us became sick because of that.
Well, yeah,
Like,
actually, my uncle worked in a plastic factory, so there was a lot of asbestos, etc. And he died of that disease where you
like
sort of
bronchitis.
yeah, what's it called again? I can't remember the name of it there, but one way it affects your breathing, etc.
Yeah.
Because you've been inhaling it over years and years and years. But that was the work which many of our parents did. Our dads worked in those types of environments.
Yes.
We lived in poor housing as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, we're joking there about the paraffin, but it was cold as well. It was cold and damp.
Yeah.
I had a niece and I had a cousin who lived across the road who both were asthmatics. And I remember during the winter time, they never left the house because, you know, when the fog used to come,
Yes.
and that fog used to just come and stay. And you couldn't see anything and you couldn't breathe. So they just keep the asthmatic ones indoors. And but he turned out to be really bright because he just used to take his book.
Is it?
That's good.
Yes.
Yeah, I wish we could inspire some
Yeah.
young people to do that today.
But Ecuador's not the only sort of, because that was missionary work, wasn't
Yes.
it? Did you do missionary work elsewhere?
I did. So I'd left that particular denomination and joined somewhere else. And this time there was some missionary work going out to India. So I went to India as a missionary. This time I didn't go for a year. It was like 2 weeks, and I've done that a couple of times. And I went teaching the choir and or teaching them how to sing. It's really hard teaching our Asian brothers and sisters how to sing in harmony, you know, especially when you've got this kind of Caribbean kind of.
There's a little bit of a
influence.
sort of cultural clash
was,
taking place
yeah,
there.
it was it was challenging. It was good, hard work. I don't think they could kind of get harmonizing like that. But yeah, it was a good experience, and then you'd teach some theology as well, which was quite good. There was a huge crowds of people. You're not talking the sort of the congregations that we have now, especially where I go right now, which is a smaller congregation, and indeed even the larger congregation, Hope City, it was bigger than that. You're talking 1,000 at a time. You're talking starting at 7 o'clock in the morning. 1,000 packed in, and men would sit on one side and women would sit on another. And that happened about 4 or 5 times. Each time 1,000 came in. It was really hard work. I pray for the people. Yeah, so you know, and you pray for them and say, you take too long, just cry. and they'd come to you and say, I want to do well at school, and they have a little bottle of oil, and you know, you think I'm going to do, I'm just a regular dude, you know. But they somehow see missionaries as something, and it is special, it is good, you go and you do good missionary work, but hey, listen, I'm just a brethren from Sheffield here, you know, you can pray as well, you know, and I used to encourage them with that. But that was a great experience, something I don't think I'll ever forget.
I mean, you said your father was a lay pastor.
Yes.
Is that something in you then? I mean, because given that you've done elements of this, I mean, is this again a part of this, you know, the Legister tradition as such?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Emphatic.
My brother's he's a brilliant preacher. That's his gift all the way. My mom, that's her gift. I've got a few sisters who are really good at that. It's not my thing.
Yeah,
I can teach.
And you're a great storyteller. They make him.
Yeah, I mean,
He's a storyteller.
You can't tell your story, but I can't. It doesn't sit comfortable with me. It doesn't work. It's not my gifting.
No, but that's the thing. I mean, don't you think it's like some of us who can talk for England, for lack of a better term. I mean, you're in good company. when it's like when you are, do you know one of the things I was impressed about? I mean, I know Donald is a teacher. He's a teacher, anyways. But one of the things that I was impressed about Donald is the way he commands a room.
Yes.
You know, like that ability to. Because it's not easy. I mean, sometimes I don't know, my mind goes all over the place. You know, when I stand in front of people, it's like, I know, sometimes I have my piece of paper and then I'm thinking, even trying to read through the piece of paper, it's like some of the words seem to be falling out of the page and all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? So, and then you end up, you know, kind of riffing more than following the plan there. But when I was watching you, you know, like in our last Trims and, you know, the thank you event for Trims and Talk, you just seem to just know what you know what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's very. I'm trying to take this one away. One of the things which we've been talking about recently in Storm and other sort of settings is how we can be gracious with one another. And say kind things to one another. And not only that, how you can receive it as well. Because in that greater, I mean, going back to your school days, you know, my daughter, when she went to a local school, and she was bright, you know, Aisha, she was bright. And it wasn't until she went to Abbeydale, and the English teacher there said to us and said to her that she was excellent at English, and she was brilliant at English, and that person is now the head of King Edward's.
Wow.
And I always remember her, Linda, saying that about my daughter. Yes, I always remember saying that when Linda said that about my daughter, and she said it to Aisha, and Aisha remembers it there. And those are important moments in your sort of upbringing when you hear someone say something well about you, and you also know how to take it.
Yes.
You know, not deflect it. In sort of like bat it off in a sort of like, oh, you make me feel a bit awkward, whatever, but actually accept it. That might be something you've got. So thank you very much for that, Lungani. But I think it's something which I think many of us, because we didn't really get it.
You didn't hear it.
You know, we didn't hear it. And we talked often about, you know, maybe our parents didn't say it, but we didn't hear it elsewhere.
That's right.
We didn't hear it full stop.
The same thing you were saying about, you know, kind of taking food to your mom. It's like our parents had a way of, they will compliment you. It's like a low-key compliment, but then you get this low-key dig.
It's something else.
Yes,
exactly.
So it's like, well, you know, you're this, but you could do better.
Yeah. But, you know, when I was at school, and the school I went to had I think it was 5 forms, and it must have had about, so it's a little boys' school, 135, 150 lads. And each class had about 30 odd lads in it. And I was in the top class, the G class, the grammar class.
Okay.
And there were 2 black lads. When you went down to the bottom end, there was like out of 30 lads, there'd be 20 odd black lads in that class.
Word.
But I was in this class, and I liked history. And this is the 70s, one of the famous historians was called A.J.P. Taylor. And the teacher said to me after this particular lesson, anytime I can ever really remember something not good being said about me, he said, "Donald, you're like the A.J.P. Taylor of this class."
Wow.
And I thought, wow, I like that.
Wow.
But we didn't get that said to us.
No.
That's the only occasion I can remember a positive thing being said about me at school. So is it any wonder that you grow up and you're a bit unsure sometimes about...
Right. Yeah.
And it carries with you, doesn't it? Into later life as well, which is a bit unsure about things.
Yeah,
How do I do
yeah.
this next step? How do I do this whatever? And when you were saying there about the church, when I was teaching on that Black Access course, I was about 29, and lots of guys on it who I know now were on it. I was so envious of the people on that course.
Really?
Yeah, because I'd gone from school to sixth form, from sixth form to college, and in my college, which was, there must be about 3,000 people on the campus, and about 5 of them were black, one of whom was a relative. And I thought, wow, look at this. There's a setting there. People are really engaging in this sort of, really wanting to go forward with their lives in a, different direction to what they've done before. They probably were skilled engineers, skilled mechanics. They had sort of practical skills, and they're going to top it up now with this other sort of like skill. And they're all in the same setting together. I was very, very envious. And I can imagine for many of those people, and I've heard them say how important that was for them in actually setting them off in a different direction.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So there's always a need for us to have that at different stages, I think. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
No, I think it's imperative, like that we not only just affirm each other, but because I think sometimes for us to be able to say, you're doing good, I have to see you, not like just in passing, in a relatively like dismissive way, but like be able to be in somebody's presence and like for some of us from other parts of the world, that's we have a term ngiyakubona, I see you. Or siyakubona, which means like me and those who I come after, we see you. You know what I mean? That thing, which sometimes I think gets lost along the way because we are so busy and there's a lot of other things that are happening that our ability to be able to be in each other's space or presence and just enjoy each other is a rarity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we do that with our children or our young people. We don't really, like sometimes they sit down with your kid is there just pottering about and you reach out and either have your hand on their head, just to say, I am here. You don't necessarily have to speak.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So going back to what we were talking about, how when did you first realize you were you at home?
Oh, big one.
Ooh. When I realized that, when I kind of got my act together.
Yes.
I don't think I ever did with my mum and dad because they left at the age of 18 or about 17 and a half. Mum and dad went back to the Caribbean. And I think I was just at the right age to be able to say, "Is Errol, you want to come?" No. I don't want to go. No, I don't want to go.
So you were left at home?
I was left at home, yeah. I was given a choice if I wanted to go.
Well, left in the house on your own?
No. I'd moved out and I moved into a flat in the area of Broom Hill even. That was my first flat. And so I left there and moved into this place. and that was it. So I never, just to answer your question, no, I never. My little bit of kudos that I got was from the church, was from the. Actually, no. Let me just take it back a little bit. It was from the church. The main sort of influence for me, yes, was the Adventist church. But when I was about 24-ish, 25, I used to visit this other church on the odd occasion because I was still living a bit of a weird life, and a bit of a weird white lifestyle, with taking substances, which is... Anyway.
We all been there, bro.
But church,
We've been by
rock and roll.
Yeah, but church on Sunday.
Church on Sunday.
Yeah, that's me. Church on Sunday.
Rock and roll Wednesday. I kind of got this thing, this guy called Pastor Barry Manson, and I used to visit his church, and I think that was the turning point for me. I hadn't sort of got baptized or wasn't fully into the church or anything, but really it kind of started from there. And indeed, my mom, who was one who really encouraged me, she's always been there. She's been a massive influence in my life. So whenever I talk, I always mention her. So yeah, that's when I think I was about 25 when I thought, I didn't really kind of get my act together until I was about 27, 28. Isn't that sad? Yeah.
No, but that's
But I don't think. I mean, I think for many of us, it is about then, and not then, but when you look back on your life and you think, when do I start to feel as if not control, but some sort of like sense of it, as opposed to things just happening to me, or just doing things without really thinking about it. For me, it would be the mid to late 20s.
Right,
But then again, I'm taking,
cool.
but your parents go away to the Caribbean, leave you here. I mean, what was that like?
Gosh, I'm casting my mind back. It was. I became kind of non-committal, is the word, in terms of relationships. It made me like that, and I didn't realize that that's what it caused. And so when I was in relationships, with a female, I was non-committal. I didn't want to commit myself too much because I was scared of getting hurt. Now, I didn't know that until I had some counselling. When I proposed to my wife, I didn't really know what it was to be a husband.
So you had counselling before you proposed to your wife?
Yes.
And was that an intentional thing that you wanted to do, the counselling, the therapy, before getting married?
Absolutely, because I got this non-committal thing, and I knew it was an issue in my life, and I thought, here's somebody that I really, really love, here's somebody that I really, really want to be with, but I've got this issue and I need to sort it out.
Yeah.
So I went and had some counselling, and a lot of it what came out was a lot to do with my mum and dad going away.
Yeah. When we've had Delroy here, Delroy Hall, and has a psychotherapist, and we've had a few psychotherapists. One of the things I heard from Delroy, and he says it quite, he's quite loud with this, which is, you don't need necessarily to be in a crisis or to be in therapy.
That's it.
People will spend money on X, Y, and Z and the clothes, etc. Spend some money on yourself. And there you are, you're going for, massive life change there, this commitment to another person there. And it does make sense, doesn't it, when you think about it, to actually think, get someone to help you to think it through. Because I want to commit to you. I want to give you, be truthful and honest and all the other bits you want, which you want in a relationship, because that's so important to us.
Because they usually say that any change is a crisis. Because we are, in essence, I think many of us will be comfortable just being stagnant in the same space. Because anything that changes that, either we fight it with everything we have, or somehow we feel some type of way. It's like moving to another part of the world. Kind of going back to you going abroad to Ecuador and the visits to India. That must have felt you with some sense of anxiety, or because for me,
Fear. Because I know I'm a scared person.
No, I'm a bit of a daredevil, you know.
Yeah.
I'm kind of, even today, I mean, even if I'm driving somewhere, I'm really curious about, where's that road go to? I'm always trying to take a risk like that. I know my wife, she's, oh, I wouldn't dare do that. Well, I dare.
Yeah.
And I've always, even traveling right across Ecuador, there were times when I was waiting. I distinctly remember this, waiting at a bus stop to take a bus to go to a town called Quevedo. Quevedo everyone said it was a really dangerous place. I just got on the bus and I just went. And I thought, I'm going to Quevedo. I forgot what I was going for.
Yeah.
But in any event, I went to Quevedo. And then I was in Quito, the capital of Ecuador, and I would travel places with friends. Oh, yeah, well, we'll meet you in such and such a place. And then I went to Guayaquil, which was even worse. I remember walking down this street once, and I'd come back from a Bible study with this guy, and we walked in the middle of the street, and he said, you're walking down one of the most dangerous roads in the country. You know, it's really, really dangerous. And I just walked down it, and I suppose I couldn't wait to tell people afterwards that I walked down this street.
So bad you is.
Bad is actually, I'm not But it's just, I've always been a kind of bit of a daredevil.
But you
like
know,
that.
going back to the therapy, in a way, there is a risk with therapy, isn't there?
How do you mean?
In the sense that actually you have to look at yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And looking at yourself isn't easy, you know, because there will be things in yourself, in one's whatever there, which, that's a bit hard, that's a bit whatever it might. Because even going back to maybe having to think about how you may have felt, and you didn't realise how you felt maybe when your parents go, that's quite a hard place to go back to, but it's an important place to go back to.
Yeah, it is, yeah, because that's where the healing takes place.
Yeah.
I really needed to go back. I think it was always in the back of my mind. I shoved it to the back of my mind. I knew if it came forward, then there might be floods of tears.
Yes.
And some pain and things, but I needed to deal with it. And I'm glad I did.
But Kate, because we grow up being told that black people don't go to therapy and stuff. I mean, what was the spark that actually? Was it this something that was given to you as an option, or it was something you knew you needed?
It's something I needed because, I had a few failed relationships and things that people had said to me in the past. I thought, I need to get some help here.
Yeah.
Not as if I was some rotten, awful person. It's just that
It's
some of my ways weren't right, and I needed it correcting.
Yeah.
And yes, I'd come into a space, into the church where there were great role models, but yet I had some issues that I needed to take care
Which
of.
we all have issues, don't
Absolutely,
we?
yeah.
And to have that self-honesty to say, these are issues I need to look into because I want something more. You know, and that more is this relationship, and I want it to work.
Absolutely.
Which is pretty powerful, I would say.
Because it's like as I was coming here, I was struck by a thought. I'm like, if I had to kind of sort of summarize Errol, sort of like in my own weird way. Because I was thinking about linguist, musician, singer, songwriter. You know what I'm saying? But now you also paint and decorate.
Yes.
Because let me tell you, when I got that call from you about, like the, kind of doing the marketing around using TikTok and stuff, for your marketing, I'm like, since when?
Yeah. Well, when I left school,
Yeah.
in those days you could pretty much walk down the road and get a job, Yeah, there was talk of Margaret Thatcher. You weren't around then, Lou.
I was around.
Oh, yeah.
Maggie Thatcher. Yeah.
I remember that.
this
Yeah.
was the
No, actually, I came in during John Major.
Yeah.
Well, yes. Well, there was a mention of her name and the fact that a lot of jobs were disappearing. But you could still walk down the road and get a job. And I remember, it wasn't quite summer yet. The year anyway, the final year of your school, they would go first, yeah? And so they would finish school early. I remember walking down the road, walked quite a distance actually, from the area that I lived in. And I walked all the way down Sharrow Lane onto London Road.
Yeah.
And walked away where it forks, where you got London Road and Abbeydale Road.
Yeah.
And there was a garage there that just said painting, decorating. I remember going and said, have you got any jobs? You know, didn't know no application form in those days. And he said, no, we haven't, son. So I sort of walked away. And he came running after me, said, how old are you? I said, I'm 16. He went, yeah, we've got some jobs. Start on Monday.
That was it.
That was it. That was the interview.
Yeah.
Start on Monday. And so I started out as a painter and decorator at the age of 16. So, and you know what? I have to say, I still love doing painting and decorating. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
You know, things have changed, and I did some more qualifications the other day just to keep myself back up to speed.
I remember my dad used to always say to me, get yourself a trade.
That's what my dad
They said, get yourself a trade.
That's what he said to me and my brother. He said, go find trade, boy. Go find trade. Because that's how he was kind of a rough man.
Yes.
But I remember, you know, and in those days, going back to the little wage slips that we used to get. Used to get a wage slip, and I remember you had to say good evening. You know, did you have to do that? You had to say good evening when you came in from school. Right? Good evening. But it was always a Thursday, and I had to put my salary on the table. I remember asking my mum about this. Why did I have to do that? In any event, so I used to put it on the table, and my mum would take whatever she wanted out of it. And
you're bored.
I didn't dare ask for it. I wanted to go out, and I'd sit and I'd be packing it off, you know. I'd be looking at it, thinking, I wonder if she's taken anything yet. And I'd sit there, and then they'd say, Errol, you can't go and take it now.
Yeah.
Yours was stricter than mine because I never worked full time until I was 20 something.
Wow.
But I worked always as part time, and I had a job in a restaurant, and I got £13 when I was 16, and my mum said, I feel your money, that.
Wow.
Yes. So dress up, you know.
Dress up. Brilliant.
£13 because £13 when you're 16 and it's yours.
Yes.
I used to give her give her a bit of money there, etc. for whatever. But it was you're at doing your A levels. There you are.
That's
get on with
really
it. So
good.
I'd pay my way to get to school, to sixth form. So I never asked for anything in terms of, money for books and things like that, because that was the money I was earning, is what she would say to me.
I don't remember, I think the first job I ever did was working as an extra in a film.
Hey, you've not seen his credits. Yeah, and let me tell you this. He told me this a couple of years back, and I thought, he's just telling me a bit of a story, He was probably right down the bottom, etc. So I looked for the film. And he's up at the top.
Yeah.
He's up the top.
Stop your
There's
hunters
Morgan
barking.
Freeman, a couple more, and
You're
then
up
there's
there,
him.
aren't
He's about the fifth one.
No. No, I like the way you say it. Yeah, I thought he was telling me a story somewhere about the interval.
I thought he was down the bottom. He's about fifth one.
Oh dear.
No,
Yes,
that's the thing. I mean, like for us, I mean, really, like unlike here, I didn't even know where you go to look for a job.
Oh.
No, because remember, it's like you have to know somebody who knows somebody who can actually say, oh yeah, they're hiring or something. And to be honest, I don't think I was ever that keen on, because I had tried. I remember us being called, like late at night. My uncle called me up to go. We were, I think, a Coca-Cola, like those big vans, had crashed and bottles were all over the place. Up to now, we never get paid, But it was cold at night, bro. We're picking up bottles and gear. And we were supposed to go the next day and go and pick up our pay. I went there and they kept telling us to come back, I was like, after a while, Forget this.
Is this work?
When my money there.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
But
So-
it's just something which you've been able to fall back on, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's helped me all the way through my life. You know, there were times even when when I'm going to go on holiday, I think I need to get some extra money. I'll go and do a paint job. You know, even when I was working in education full time and I was getting a good salary, and I think, oh, that's some extra cash. It's always been that sort of sideline, a side hustle that's helped me out time after time after time. Brilliant.
Because that's the thing. For me, I knew Errol more for outside, the church stuff was like the education work. So for me, it's like it's always been that thing because it's like that's how I related more, because I was working in that space also, and you have always seemed to be so in tune and knowledgeable and somehow seem to get that the young people and all that kind of stuff, and the conversations we usually have always been sort of kind of dovetailed towards that thing.
Yeah,
I
I always had this thing when I got my degree. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to support young people and help them and give them opportunity that I never had. So when this job came up as an AIM Higher coordinator working with ethnic minorities, thought, you don't call it that, you just call it the Errol Legister job, because it was just so me. And I went for it. It was only 2 days a week, and I thought, this is perfect.
Yeah.
And then I met you, Donald, through that. So I worked my way up to a point where they were advertising a job, and it was for AIM Higher coordinator for South Yorkshire. And it's a pretty good title. And I got that job. And it was working with ethnic minorities, and so I was working with all the colleges. And then they said to me, could you, we're doing the master classes, because my line manager had left to go to the DFES. I forget what department it's called. I don't know what. I forget.
DFCS
Anyway,
it was then.
Yeah, he was sent to go and do something else. Anyway, so a lot of his work fell to me, so I did these master classes. It involved Cambridge University, the University of Sheffield, Sheffield Hallam University, and all these institutions. And I was getting invited to all these grand events and things. So it was, just working with young people. It was just so me, and I really felt that any student you put in front of me, I don't care how bad, bring the bad one in here. I didn't care how bad they were. I could make that kid an A student just by talking to him, because I'd lived it.
He used to come to my college for meetings. And, he was dressed, he was dressed.
He's always been a
and
sharp
he's
dresser,
in this meeting, and we have this meeting, and we're talking away with other people, etc. And when the meeting done, I said, "Oh, Errol, Errol, where you get that shirt from?"
I remember. What was the pattern now?
I know, but I remember because it was a long meeting, and all the time I'm just thinking, I've got to ask Errol, where do you get that shirt from?
I remember the shirt I was wearing now. It was like it was Prince of Wales check.
Yes, because I was chairing the meeting, and I thought, I've got to be all sensible. I've got to do this. Like I said yesterday to you, what Eddie said, which is, that's the role you're playing. But I thought I've got to come out of that role and just go back into myself, which is I've been just eyeing up that shirt.
Well, yes, I remember that day when he said, "Oh, nice shirt there. Where do you get that?" I always remember. That was weird.
So I mean, like, I'm aware of the time, but one of the things like we spoke about on Friday was the some of the in your creative capacity, the like background vocals and some of the artists you have worked with over the time. I mean, what has been memorable of that space of your life?
I mean, there was quite a lot of people that I worked with in that time. I don't want to name drop anybody, but I think what I kind of took little bits from everybody.
Yeah.
Whether it was, okay, I said I wasn't going to name drop, but somebody like Wet, 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 for example. his attitude to the actual singing and things like that. And then probably someone like Misha Paris, and those kinds. I took a little bit in from everybody. So it's a really difficult question, that really. It was a weird time in my life, I wasn't really entirely whole, if you like. I got these issues. I got lots of distractions. I was taking substances that maybe I had no business taking. I was on weed and one.
Was that when you were down in London?
No, before then.
Before
I was in
then?
Sheffield.
Why this,
Yeah. I was experimenting with substances and doing things. And I was trying to find some kind of happiness.
Yes.
I was trying to find it somewhere, and I realized that really I couldn't find it in them things. And I think that's why the church really for me was stepping into the church, although I'd been going since I was a baby with mom and dad, but then committing myself properly, truly to it, that was really the real turning point for me.
So that's when you say happiness and contentment.
Yeah.
Of those, there's a big one. No, maybe it's not a big one because is that something it's always a fleeting thing in the moment, but is that something you feel as if that commitment is giving you that happiness and contentment? And commitment in general, because you've committed yourself to another person.
Yeah. I think it's a state of mind, isn't it? So you could say that Christianity is a state of mind. You've made up your mind that you want to do this or you want to serve that. But I think it goes deeper than that because we have feelings, don't we? So whenever, I felt that I was resurrected, from a lot of, if you want, from a lot of the lifestyle that I was living before. I was trying to find happiness in those drugs and in that kind of life, be it even if you were promiscuous. I was never really that promiscuous, but trying to find happiness in things that just I wasn't happy. But when I came into like the church setting, my life really changed. And indeed, even now, even when I'm feeling depressed or feeling low, I can always kneel down and pray, and then I feel all rejuvenated again. So, for me, that's why it's not everyone wants to be part of that. That's fine. But for me, that's my testimony. I can testify that it's made a difference to my life and how I live my life. I'm not one of those. Careful how I say this. I'm not one of those kind of fuddy-duddy type where, I can't be around that person because they're cursing, or I can't be around that. No, I try and walk amongst everyone, and I'm just Errol. I'm not trying to be anything else other than just me. You know what I mean? But yeah, that in terms of that contentment and happiness, really, I really found it really in the church. That's where it started.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, how is your mental health?
How was my mental health? I went through a stage where I felt that, I know I completely lost it. And that was just before I joined the church. I was like, I remember the night I was laid out on the floor, on the pavement like this. Is one of my marijuana experiences. And I was laid out on the pavement, and this guy walked past. He goes, "Oh, you all right, mate? You all right?" I was, "Yeah, I'm all right." And I remember walking down. My mum wasn't living. I was living on Pearl Street then. I wasn't living far from my mum. I went down to my mum's, and she said, "Oh, you look like you're torn walkless now." And it was it was a big thing. Her saying that. And
God, that's what you used to say. That word, the word "walkless" was what
deep.
Was said.
It was deep.
Yeah.
And she, and then she prayed with me, and then she. After that, she then gave me this telling off by saying, "Look here, I'm no mad people in my family, That's how she was saying it. She goes, "I ain't got no crazy people in my family. You get your act together." And she was the one who really counseled me and really talked to me and brought me back.
As you talk there, it sounds like that's in your early 20s. Similar sort of thing for myself there. Look, for so many of us, it was so difficult, wasn't it? And it's quite painful to look back on your younger self and the amount of work you have to do to get through. And one of the things which for Lungani ourselves is how we can also support our younger people so that actually some of that is lessened. We can't take it away.
No, you can't,
but
you can't.
how they can actually also have the support and the resilience to be able to get through those difficult and sometimes dark days, which they're always hanging around, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're always hanging around.
No, that's true. But one of the things, like it's like as you're talking about, like your mom, and she continues to play a very big role in your life, and suddenly I had this sense of, I have never had anyone sit me down and give me the riot act about anything. You know what I'm saying? Like
I know what you mean.
Like a sense of do better, better, do better. So it's like I think the only person, if I can be frank, whoever sort of kind of pulled rank and told me about what I should or shouldn't do was Ogo Osamo, because I lived at August for about a year. He never asked me for anything. That brother. When people ask me, I say, yeah, my big brother is Ogo, and people can't even kind of understand. Say, oh, yeah, but he's from Nigeria, you're from Zimbabwe. I'm like, yeah, that's my big bro, because that's the only one guy who was old enough to take his role for somebody. You couldn't say he knew from Adam under his wing, and so it's like. I somehow, in a way, the way he did life for me is the way that I try and do life for others. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why sometimes when I sit with the elders.
But what you're saying there,
You know what I'm
Lungani,
saying?
about that, and I think you've brought it up there, Errol, about sometimes someone has to pull you up.
That's it.
I got pulled up by my brother. Again, I can't think of many people who have, but my brother pulled me up, and when I was applying for the post I got, in the end, the deputy, principal at the college, and I'd gone down to London and had written an application, draft application, and on his computer. And when I got home back to Sheffield, he rang me up and said, "You've left your draft on my computer. I'll send it to you." I said, "Yeah," and then he said to me, "Are you serious about this job?" I said, "Yes." He said, "We're going to have to do better than that then." I thought, "Oh, you cheeky whatever." Who are you talking to? And he was right. I had to do better. If you really want it, you're going to have to go with full commitment. One of the things which has been a thread throughout our conversation today, Errol, is that if you want something and you want it better, then you're going to have to commit yourself to
commit
it.
yourself.
Whatever it is you're doing there, it won't come by you just wanting it.
Yeah.
If you want to, have better relations with people, you're going to have to work at it.
Yeah.
You're going to have to show up. You're going to have to sort of make that phone call to someone. We've been talking about that on the Fridays there. Make that phone call to someone and to chat with them there. You're going to have to sort of, when you ask them the question, "How are you?" you're going to actually want to be with them when you ask that question.
Yeah.
You're not just asking it out of some sort of like, "Oh, I'm playing this little, that's what we do. How are you doing?" and then move on. But I'm going to have to be there. Even when they come back to you and say, "Well, I'm not good." And then you actually are listening to what the not good is.
That's it. I think we have to be prepared to sit with people and stuff. And,
Yes.
And to be honest, and for me, today has been that very thing. Because it's like we are in each other's space, but we haven't really, I think from Friday, it's the realization that really we haven't really factored in the time that's required for people you can even class as your brethren. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We have been fleeting. We do that thing, and somehow we feel like we have done our due. You know, thank you very much, bro.
Errol, thank you very much there. It's been deep.
Thank you. No,
It's been deep. Thank you.
It's been deep and it's been wide.
Yes.
So me, I'm just waiting for the book.
Okay, well, yeah. Well, we'll see. What's the space? On the subject of space, I know you're sort of closing off, but rather than getting other people to write our story, perhaps this thing with Storm and Black Man's Chat, or the Black Man's Talk in mine, or Men's Chat, a book needs to come out of that.
No, it really does.
Yes, absolutely.
Really,
I mean, one of the things that Robert said, he's got an idea which is around a sort of fictional thing, where you get a little collective together and you just sort of storm ideas.
Yeah.
But those ideas are based on people's experiences.
Yes.
So you slightly flesh out certain things, which part of that is because that's one of the beauty of fictional writing. You can go down angles which are safe angles sometimes, but you explore things. And I know you're a bit of a writer.
No, I like that.
Yes.
I really do.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
Perhaps there might be a song in this, you know? Who knows?
No, but I was listening. Let me tell you, for those who want to hear some wholesome music, check Errol George on Spotify. I mean, at least that's where I got Spotify. You know, Errol George on Spotify.
Oh, I'm going. That's me this afternoon.
Yeah, no, that's the thing for me. It's like, I think it's because the music is relatable. It's something familiar to it and stuff. I don't know whether it's your voice or something, but there's something familiar, you know, about the music. You know, it's just wholesome.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
I mean, I one of the songs. I mean, some of the stuff's a bit deep. One song I wrote about a guy. I've written that many, but I think part of the title is When You Feel Like Giving Up, and it was about a friend of mine actually who tried to commit suicide 3 times, and I said, oh, there's something in this. I'm gonna write a song about it, and I did. You probably heard that one, When You Feel Like Giving Up. Yeah. It was about a friend of mine who tried to commit suicide, like I said, 3 times, and he failed. And I said to him, look, listen, you know, you're not really, maybe it's not, you've got something, maybe God's got something for you to do. You know what, I ended up, me and my pastor baptizing that guy.
Yeah.
Can you believe it? So I thought that was quite an interesting thing. Me and Pastor Barry Manson baptized him. So, yeah, and even now and then he lives his life and he's very happy.
Yeah.
So, you know, you weren't supposed to die because you got things to do.
No, yes, absolutely.
No, but that's it, bro. That's it.
Errol,
But
I'm going to just say, it's been, you know, I've known you a long while, but, you know, this afternoon, I feel like I've got to know you again on another level.
on another level.
On another level there. So,
Thanks a lot, bro.
you, guys.
Thank you, man.
yeah, you have Bob Marley there with
No,
Siaga.
you know what? You know another. You know.
Siaga, Manley.
Another thing, you know, like
It's Siaga, yeah, Manley.
you know, another thing I like about Errol is like, because it's like sometimes I notice these little things. He wants to invite. It's like, you know, sometimes when we're talking to stuff, I'm like, yeah. I think you should bring in that guy. I think I've got so and so. You know, we need to bring into that. But that's the thing. But sometimes many of us, we just want to have our experience. We don't really take other people along with us.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm
And there's a lot
I'm
of people
thankful
out there. I
about
mean,
Got to bring them.
yes. So
Yeah,
Friday
don't
was really something else. I thought.
Yeah, it was
Lee was.
Lee was different
The
class.
heartfeltness of it, but you know, he was very incredibly eloquent in the way in which he spoke.
Oh, he's always
He was. You know, it was because he had this. Captivate is the wrong word, but you know, you had to listen to him.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the thing about it. You had to listen
It was
to him.
tearful, wasn't
yes, and the way he said it as well there, you know, I was amazed by it all there, and I was amazed by the discussion, you know, of all the people present there. It was powerful.
It was
Yeah,
powerful.
it was powerful,
That's
man.
Perhaps another interesting character who you would, what we've just been talking about, someone like Adrian Anderson.
Yes.
Adrian Anderson is certainly somebody you need. He's got very interesting man indeed. A very good friend of mine.
You have to get to, because I know Adrian, because he taught my children at Abbeydale.
Well, it was
They used to
Linda
love him, you
again.
know. I know Linda.
Linda
No,
again.
so I didn't mention them because Linda there has been an absolute up there for me.
Yeah, she has
she's
been.
in a different league.
Yes.
I'd love for you to interview Linda.
Maybe Linda has to wait until she's finished being head teacher. So then she doesn't, because it's such being head teacher of a school like King Edward's, which is one of the top schools in the city, and to do it for 10 years and more is something else.
And also you have to kind of Twitter between that line of, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's like an Obama kind of thing where you are.
Yeah. I'm sure she's got loads to say.
You know what I'm saying?
afterwards
But
there.
you're not for just one particular demographic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I hope it's all right for you.
That was fantastic. It was a great experience.
Thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and never miss an episode. Until next time, keep those conversations going and the clippers buzzing.